this morning, but I think I'll be okay.
I'll be okay.
Now my car still smells like marijuana.
Oh! And we're back. Mike and Lebs, talk football, everybody. Welcome. Oh, what a good day it is. Everyone joining. I'm hoping that you are enjoying the quality type of day that I am today. A day that can only be described by a few simple words. Mike, what are the words that I'm thinking of today, on this joyous occasion? Are those words?
Eddie Kane. Eddie Kane.
No, not quite. I'm thinking a little more along the lines of who is Man United? That's what I'm talking about.
How was I? Is that common? Should I have known that?
I don't know. It's fine. Who
Man, I'm out of the loop.
is Man United?
Who is Man United?
Who is Man United? That's the most important thing I'm thinking today.
Let me ask you a question. Who is Man United? Who are the real Man United?
Who? I don't know. But I don't know. Are we seeing him right now? Is this who Man United is?
This is who Man United will be, unless they
what?
will. Unless what? What are you talking about?
How soon is he going to go? How soon is Jose out?
He's going to have to be fired. Full stop. Give me a month. Give me early and a month. I'll say late October.
Oh, wow. Late
Yeah.
October.
This is assuming assuming losses to bottom table teams and losing at home. Yeah, they won't. Man, but it's tough.
No,
what do you replace him with?
What if it's sooner, though? That's what I'm saying. That they might even make an example out of him. I'm thinking it might be sooner. I don't know. Does he make the week? What if they just fired him right now?
Supposedly got the backing of the board last week. I mean, who knows if that's a bunch of bullshit or not. But
how many times have we heard backing of the board right before someone got fired?
It's hard though because they have to pay him the rest of his contract. Like they want to. It's not going to get better though. Like we know it. It's not going to get better. He doesn't. He can't. He's not adjusting.
I literally everybody I tortured Mike and made him sit on the phone with me while I watched the 16-minute highlights of the game, and I'm sitting here the whole time talking to him, going, Mike, United have so many chances. Like, what is going on right now? And halfway through the game, what was it, Mike? 45 minutes in, still no goals, and United having the lion's share of the chances in that game today. I just hope everybody listening in to this knows that we're talking about that United got beat by Spurs. What was it, Mike? 3-0 at Old Trafford today. So sorry, everybody, filling you in on that late, but I'm assuming you've already heard.
Right.
But man, what a game! Give us your overall thoughts on the game, Mike.
I didn't see that happening. I literally thought it was going to be a 0-0 draw. I didn't. Yeah, like Manchester United, they may be really limited by Jose's tactics, but defensively, he's still, pretty sound. What am I saying? Brighton just tore them apart. But historically, defensively, he's pretty sound, and he's very defensive, and he relies on the individual brilliance of his players. But defensively, even, they're not really there anymore. You have to feel for Mourinho a little bit. His players were missing quite a few chances. Lukaku wasn't on it. We both agree Aguero or Salah would have buried that chance.
Oh, Salah buries that all day, every day, no doubt.
So, do you want a big picture answer, me or Manchester United right now tied into this, or what? Just going for the match, because I think.
I think it's both. I don't think you can have one without the other, because I think this match was a perfect example of what we've been seeing this year. United haven't been without the ball. That hasn't been the problem. I don't know if maybe I was thinking that the problem, because I think when you say, oh, they're ultra defensive, it somehow makes you think of teams that batter down the hatches and just hit you on the counterattack, and it's their game plan and it works well. And that's what Mourinho's teams used to look like. This team wavers between these spells where they have all of the possession of the ball for a good while, and they're just pounding on the door. They're just firing crosses into the box over and over and over again. And yeah, they have the right striker in Lukaku physically for somebody that should be able to be putting those chances away, but it's not happening. The ball is not going in, and there doesn't seem to be any other game plan or any other ideas, any creativity. It looks Route 1, if you will. I mean, I know Route 1 is, more typically like counterattacking, but what do you think, Mike? Am I way off on this?
So I agree with you, and I think managers like Pep, Klopp, or even like Eddie Howe or Chris Hughton, like they're adapting to the game, the high press, the intensity, the passing. Even Fulham's manager, and Mourinho's totally unwilling to adapt. And at this point, when you have so many teams that are able to buy such expensive players, I don't think what he does works anymore. I remember after the Brighton game, he talked quite a bit about, man, if Lukaku hadn't missed this chance, then, and like today, if Lukaku hadn't missed that chance and the other chances that were missed, like what would have happened? I don't know. Is that good enough? I think his track record says, like, this is who he is, and I'm not really willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. Can you objectively say, I'm asking you because you and I both love to hate him. Can you objectively say like
I can't be objective on this. Everyone knows that, but I'll give you my subjective opinion.
And Rusty, stop. Sorry, dog. So give me that answer, your straight answer. Is he unlucky, or can we believe him because he's got such a past? And also, does it make sense to fire him? Like, at point, who would they? I don't know. I don't even know who they would replace him with. Maybe they could ride like an interim manager out or something like that.
So you're basically saying that you disagree with my point of, he could be out sooner. Like you're being more objective in this, and you're like, well, it just doesn't make sense monetarily. I just don't see how it pans out. Who do we bring in? Like that's basically what you're saying.
Yeah, but I think it'll get so bad where they don't have a choice. And what they're doing right now is not the Manchester United way. It's not like attacking, strong counterattacking, lots of goals, end-to-end stuff. The fans will not put up with this. So, he could go earlier. I'm just thinking I don't want him to go. Like, I want to see them crash and burn all season. And he may go earlier. I'm just thinking,
yeah. No,
I think that's realistic. But, man, you get too many more results like this. Like, when do they play Liverpool? When they play Liverpool or City, if they get battered by 2 goals at least, that'll be too much.
So they play Burnley next week, which Burnley looked pretty bad so far this year, to be honest. So that could be I could see them rolling through Burnley, and that keeps Mourinho in his job. Then they play Watford. I bet they roll Watford. Then they play Wolves. They're going to have a tough time against Wolves, and this is it says September the 22nd.
Mm-hmm.
So in a couple weeks. Yeah, I bet this is the last game he loses for a while, and he rolls through the next bit of the kind of the bottom of the league, mid-table teams. Who am I joking, though? They are a mid-table team now.
Man, at this rate, seriously, you can't. We're looking at City and Liverpool because it's so tight, and we're talking about, man, City dropped 2 points. Liverpool have to capitalize. That's where we are in this season.
Oh, yeah.
Manchester United keeps this up, they'll be title race in October. Totally.
They feel well out of it at this point, to me.
Mathematically also. So City, they don't play City. They play Chelsea at the end of October. That might be a huge match. They also play, Everton. They play them right after that. That's been a tough team. And then they play City in November. Man, they do not play Liverpool until December 15th. That's just such a big game. That and City. Those are huge, calibers for the fans.
Yeah. So you brought up a team that I wanted to talk about. We're going to tease, by the way, guys. We're going to talk about Liverpool and City as we go along here. But I've got a couple of the other teams I want to talk about, so hang with us. I want to talk about Everton, and I want to talk about Richarlison. Did you see everything that went on with that game? So I've got a real soft spot for Bournemouth. I really like Eddie Howe. I call him Babyface Howe. I think he's actually like a 50s gangster with the He's got
He's a cool dude,
such
man.
a baby face. Like I like him a lot. But Rich Arlison is the player for Everton. Do you know much about this guy, Mike?
Oh yeah.
Talk to me more about him. I've just been learning about him from them making fun of him on Match of the podcast you and I both listen to.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah,
Guardian,
so he's just
Guardian Football
Weekly. Love
Yeah.
them. If you're listening, Max, we'd love to get you and Barry on as a guest.
My
Barry, you
goodness.
especially. But we know Max is the mouth breather into the mic.
Yes.
Anyways, it cracked me up. He's like, I assumed it was you, Barry. And he's like, why? He's like, because you're so out of shape. Because you're so unhealthy.
And you smoke cigarettes all the time.
But
I love that show so much.
he's this Brazilian player that Watford bought for a good fee, and that was kind of Silva's player, like his signing at Watford. And the guy he just wasn't any good for Watford. He had a good first half of the season, and then just totally kind of like stunk it up. So then he comes, like the manager will go to a new club and kind of get his man from the old club. And Everton picked him up, and everyone's already talking crap, like so expensive, such a waste. And then he nets a brace in his first game against Wolves. He scores a goal against whoever they played last week. I can't remember now. He scored a goal. And then this weekend, is that what we're getting to, his red card?
Yeah, his red card, man. Very, very childish. But, I mean, he is only 21, so.
It's just crazy to me, like, awareness for footballers. Like, I mean, it's a red card. And that's what the Bournemouth player wanted him to do. 100%. He was begging him to do that. He was baiting him into doing that.
100%. $40 million. That's how much he cost. I think that's in this market, $40 million is a reasonable transfer fee for a player of that age, Brazilian caliber. I mean, dude, these English dudes, they annoy me so much about how much they harp on the transfer fees. I'm just going to be honest. I mean, again, that makes me biased as a City fan because we spend so much money. But, God, I get sick of hearing about transfer fees. I just want to see him play,
Yeah, I think Everton would say he's worth it. And, like, what's a player worth? Whatever you're willing to pay, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, the market right now, everybody talks about that it's so inflated. How is it inflated? Is it really even going to come down again? Like inflation, I know inflation economically implies that it's not technically coming back down again. But, like, when are they going to stop saying how inflated the market is and it's just, like, this is the new market? Like, to get a player of Richarlison's youth, pedigree,
nationality, Brazilian
nationality, and potential because he's so young, $40 million. Like I feel like that's what most people are paying. Do you agree with that? Do you feel like it's too much?
No, I don't.
So what do you think about it? What do you think about Everton overall? How they've looked so far this year? It's been hot and cold for me.
So I've watched them quite a bit. My brother, Kaysen, he's a big Everton fan. So, it's kind of, in Merseyside Derby type stuff. They've been absolutely, the last 2 years, absolutely impotent. Like the Derby's not the match it used to be. They're just pitiful. Going through Ronald Koeman and then going through big fat Sam Allardyce.
Uh-huh.
They just looked pathetic. And I'll say with almost the same group of players, and him doing some things like shipping out Wayne Rooney, playing Sigurdsson in his preferred position, shipping out Yannick Bolasie. To me, the team look so much more competent than they have. And, I mean, they've played the majority of 2 games with 10 men, and they've been right in it. Like that first game against Wolves, they played the whole match with 10 men, and I was impressed.
Yeah.
I think the Derby's going to be a really good game. I'm really looking forward to that. I think so far he's like a good pickup for them. He's a pretty feisty manager, gets a player on his ass. Like, I think it was a good move for them. Silva.
Silva for Everton. Yep.
Yeah.
Do you think the Richarlison pickup was a good one though?
Verdict out. I'm definitely not on the fence of, they've got these ridiculous TV deals flying around. Everyone's got hundreds of millions to spend. Like, I don't know. They were really desperate for a creative, kind of pacey player after Bolasie didn't work out. And I don't know. We'll see. I'm not too fussed about the transfer fee. It's funny to listen to hear people talk about it. But, I mean, we have Liverpool spending like 70-something million on a keeper and like 60-something million on a defender. Like,
yeah,
like the money doesn't feel real to me. Like I can't
Right.
even like quite quantify it in my mind. It feels like it's just gotten so.
Yeah.
And
It's
like
crazy.
you've got players making 380,000 pounds a week.
Yep.
It's like it's totally beyond me the life that they live and the things they do. I think
And
I just
how
think
poorly
he's.
how poorly that player is playing, by the way. He
I think
gets
he's
no slack.
such a silly boy. I think Richarlison's so silly.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that's just
Yeah.
bait and switch stupidity, man.
that-
Like why react?
Yeah. That
South
game,
American players, man.
they play with their heart, that's for sure. That game was a cracking game, though. I've been waiting all day to say that. Cracking game, dude. Like, back and forth with the Theo Walcott goal was incredible.
Yes.
Michael Caine's header was nice. Ake and like everything all the way across. Every single one of those goals, Adam Smith goal, every one of them was really, really nice. And I really enjoyed watching that game. Bournemouth, I really like them though because they always come to play. They're not
Yeah.
gonna show up and just park the bus and chill the whole time. They want to play some football. And I like watching all their games. It's always interesting. Yeah, they might lose by 3 or 4, but if
They're
I
not
wasn't
compromising on who they are.
I'm saying this, if I wasn't a City fan, I'd be a Bournemouth fan. Straight up.
I mean, even last year when you guys were just pretty much, walking the league, right?
Yeah.
Like Bournemouth played you guys like full blast. Like that's just
Very
what they
well.
do.
Yep.
And whether they lose or whatever, they live and die by their system, and it's kept them in the Premier League. And they're they're a small club.
Oh yeah. Very
And
small.
they've got an incredible manager. I think he would move up in the ranks. He will move in the ranks eventually. He's very like super well respected.
He's so loyal though. I mean, he's been at Bournemouth for like how many years now? It's been quite a few years. He's the longest term now that Arsene Wenger has retired. Eddie Howe is the longest serving Premier League manager that's still serving right now. 100%. You can fact check that.
Yeah, I would have guessed him and Sean Dyche, like both of them, like would have been
Yeah.
in the mix for it. I couldn't say which way or another, but like, yeah, and he'd be like a Manchester United position comes open, like that's just I think a sensible manager wouldn't want that job.
I don't know. I bet he'd take it. He could go and turn them back into dude, Eddie Howe could do it. I bet he could do it. If you gave him time with those players, take what Bournemouth already do, very tough defensively, very big, a lot of pace up front, and apply that to Man United's current roster of players. That
What do you
would
think
be
about a
team.
player like World Cup winner like Pogba? Would he listen to a manager who coached in the championship a few years ago?
Eddie Howe doesn't take any crap, bro. That dude, yeah, he could face down Pogba. I mean, and if Pogba doesn't listen, then Pogba gets shipped off.
Man.
That'll hurt.
Right.
And the other day I was hearing this about Pogba's how one reason why Paul Pogba has more job security than Jose Mourinho is that Paul Pogba is more influential on social media, and that is worth so much to the brand that monetarily speaking alone, he's more important than Jose if you have to pick between one or the other.
Yeah, they had a guy on talking about a couple guys making that point about Manchester United, and they said, like Manchester United's a brand. Like I remember when they bought a Korean player, like they were deliberately reaching out into a market. It's about money. Like so here's the point. Their shareholder stocks are worth more than they've ever been worth.
Right. Yep.
So I don't know.
It's insane. I keep thinking that it's going to go down, but the back office is it the back office, or the front office? The front office, I think is what it's called.
I got you.
The front office, man, they know how to run their business over there, obviously. So it's interesting, definitely. All right, we're gonna move on. Sorry, guys. I just have really been wanting to talk to Mike about that. Let's go to some other games. Southampton-Leicester, I didn't think there was a lot there. Red card for Southampton. I mean, I know if you're a fan of one of those, it was different. But Arsenal and West Ham.
Hey, I want to make a point about referee for that match, John Moss.
Yeah, go ahead.
Gives Holberg for Southampton.
Yes, this was the diving thing. Sorry.
He gives him a second yellow for a dive. Gives him a red for it, and I just think that's so cool. Like, what a precedent! I wish everyone would do that. Like, nip that out of the game. That is literally the only way you can pull it out of the game.
And he did a great job because it was like an obvious dive. It wasn't just like a
it was a great decision.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was
The other thing you'd have to do, you have to do two things to get diving out of the game. You'd have to stop punishing players for staying on their feet. You got to start giving penalties when a player chooses to stay on their feet.
Yeah.
Because it's still foul. And then you got to start giving yellows for dives. And a lot of refs are coming around. So, anyways, yeah, that's really it.
Yeah, thank you for bringing up that point because I did want to talk about that. Arsenal, West Ham. Arsenal 3, West Ham 1. I mean, it finally got his win, I guess. West Ham looked really bad. That's the first thing. I want to credit Arsenal. Scott, I know you're going to listen to this. Scott, I want to credit Arsenal. They are playing better, but West Ham looked really bad. They're in trouble.
Man, I was just thinking that, like, if this team doesn't get better, like, right now they're playing as bad as Cardiff.
Yeah.
Cardiff are defending better. So, I mean, maybe Cardiff are playing better right now.
West Ham might be the worst team in the league right now.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. What I've seen, yeah.
Yeah. So, but Arsenal are looking better. The goals just weren't super impressive. I think the system is coming along a little bit, but the goals were really ugly. I mean, and they still count, but I just didn't see Emery's not even close. I mean, I say he's 1% of the way there, something like that. Like it's just now. We haven't even gotten close to seeing what it's going to look like, in my opinion. What do you think, Mike?
Yeah, I totally agree, and I don't think he quite has the players. Like that back line's kind of slow, and like they get exposed often, especially Mustafi and Socrates. So that's interesting, playing such a high line and press. I think it'll take time to adapt. I mean, I'm really high on this. I don't know if you played this game. I didn't watch this game. I watched extended highlights. The Guendouzi fellow, the defensive end from France. Like,
yeah, I keep an eye on him. What do you think about him?
He's so much fun to watch. Super rash, super aggressive. He's only 19. It's fine, but I'm really interested to see what he develops into. Yeah, I think Arsenal will be fine. I think they give Emery a chance. They'll be fine. They already are showing some signs, and it's like basically the same set of players they had. They didn't buy much in the summer. And
you were saying that off air before we started. Talk about were you saying it off air? I'm not sure. Talk about Ozil.
Yeah, so Emery is this manager that requires like a lot of tracking back. He requires a lot of press from his players. Like that's big. And we know, Ozil, he's an easy target, but it's true. He doesn't get back. He's been given this creative freedom all of his career at Manchester United and Real Madrid. It's like put him in the center attacking mid. I mean, even with Arsene. And so this is my outside view of what I watched. First week, Emery's making these statements. I expect my players to do that. Mesut Ozil plays. Doesn't really do it. Second match, Mesut Ozil plays. Isn't really tracking back. He gets hooked by like 60th minute, in the 50th minute somewhere. And then this match, apparently Mesut Ozil had a stomach bug. But he got yanked and didn't get to play. And a lot of people are saying that there was a big bust-up between him and Emery. And I think this season, you gotta give him time. Like that whole Arsenal, everything there just has Wenger's shadow. But they got to give him time to have a bad season and flesh his players out because I think he's a competent manager, and I think they're in fine hands. But it's going to be tough. There's like this. I get the impression, and like I hear other pundits talk about it, so I feel okay about saying it. It's like there's just like kind of like this lackadaisical filler on Arsenal. Like they need a kick up the ass, and he's like that kind of manager to do that because they didn't like seem like they cared anymore. Like they seemed to get run over easy. They didn't have the spine, and they've lost games, but I mean they were in the mix against City. I mean against Chelsea. You guys kind of took care of them pretty well, but yeah. I mean even in the game against you guys, they still looked slightly more competent defensively. Which sounds strange, but I mean, like they were aggressive, they were disrupting play, and that has not been their case. I'd like to see hit plenty of time. I think they'll be fine, and they got to spend some money though. That team needs to spend some money.
They will. They'll right the ship. They're gonna get it going. In other games, Huddersfield and Cardiff drew 0-0. Watford beat Crystal Palace 2-1. Newcastle beat Chelsea 2-1. I admit I have not watched that game. Mike, you said you watched the first half. Sorry, making any moves coming along at all?
So it was at what is it, St. James? I don't know, in Newcastle, whatever, Tyneside.
Yep, St. James.
Yeah, like Chelsea like was somewhere around upper 70s or like 81% possession. Pretty well dominated the game. I switched to Fulham at halftime, so I was like, just wasn't interested. Newcastle looked pretty capable defending, but they're very physical. They kick the crap out of their players. I don't know how there wasn't a red card in that first half on a Newcastle player, but fair enough. I think Chelsea looks super competent, and just with that group of players, like it's so interesting that Chelsea are playing so differently than what I'm used to seeing with Mourinho, Conte, even when Benitez coached them. Like, you don't see them change out of being a very like defensive team. And right now, he's very much, and Hazard's even said specifically, like he's allowing his creative players to just like release them to do their thing. And like watching Napoli, like that team, he would unleash that team on opponents. And I think they'll just get better. I think they'll be in the top 4. I don't think it'll be too close if they miss out. I think they'll finish above Tottenham.
That's big words after seeing what Spurs did today. So I just want to tell everybody we were going to have a guest on tonight, who was a big Spurs fan, and I was really looking forward to hearing an opinion from a Spurs fan about basically the game today against United. And I know we already talked about it a little bit, just talking about how poor United was, but I do think we have to give some credit to Spurs because United had a lot of chances today and didn't put them away. But, man, Spurs really forced the issue in the second half by absolutely just piling on. I think this is a game a little bit where the score line kind of doesn't really reflect the entire story. I think it comes down a lot of it to Spurs really influencing the game and making their mark on it even more than Man United being poor in the second half. Man United should have taken their chances earlier in the game to give themselves a lead, and that might have changed the game. But in the second half, man, we got to talk about Lucas a little bit, Mike. Got to give this guy some credit. I mean, he's the new kind of rising star out there as of this weekend, isn't he?
Yeah, man. Like, basically, everybody just kind of forgot about him, and I forgot about him too. He didn't play much last season. I don't remember why. I don't remember if he was injured or what the deal was, but he was like when PSG were kind of on the ascendancy and they were buying this player and they were buying that player, like he was one of them. And then all of a sudden he's surplus and he doesn't play. So he goes to Tottenham. I kind of forgot about him. And, man, the guy just looks good. He's got an incredible touch. He's very aggressive. And, he scored 2 goals, right, today? But the second one was especially nice.
Yeah. So I do have, thankfully, my boy Harrison Amburn. Shout out to Harrison, our resident Spurs fan here on the pod. He shot me a text of talking to me a little bit about his opinion of kind of Lucas's background a little bit. And he said Lucas came from PSG last January, and in Harrison's opinion, he kind of struggled to get on with their tactics and the style that Poch likes to play. And then Son kind of came out of nowhere and balled out, and they compete for spots. So right now, and this is something that people aren't talking about that you and I brought up on the show, Son is out right now. He's at the Asian Games. I don't know if everybody else has really realized that. But so he's at the Asian Games right now, so Lucas is stepping up. He has 3 goals in 3 games and has been remarkable with his pace. He adds a new dimension. I'm hoping we find a way to make Son and Lucas on the field together, and that's from Harrison.
Cool.
So that's pretty cool.
Great addition. Yeah, I wasn't quite sure what the deal was with the season last year. That makes sense, though. Pochettino, very much values fitness and work ethic, and, if you can't get on with it.
Yeah. Cool, man. So, yeah, Spurs are, we've criticized, they've gotten a lot of flack for not spending any money, and yet I feel like they've come out of the gate looking pretty good this year.
Yeah, man, I would have, the thing I wanted to say to Colleen, and if she listens or not, this is kind of my question to her, and we talked, and I asked Matt about it. What's more important sometimes? Is it buying the player or keeping your best players? Yeah. And there's tons of, who knows if there was ever any truth in it, and but talk of Kane going to Madrid and Barca. We're thinking about Eriksen, holding on to their entire team and getting a lot of them on new contracts. That's also a good summer. I don't know. That would be my question to Colleen. Colleen, which side do you fall on? Are you just so glad that you kept your squad in, you don't have to bed anyone in, or are you just kind of man, we had the money and we didn't spend it?
Shout out to Harrison. Maybe if he's listening.
Oh, Harrison. Yeah, man. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Shoot us a tweet. So, Harrison, if you're listening, shoot us a tweet, man. Give us your thoughts on that. Mike, I want you to talk to me about. We got 3 games left to go over, and I want you to talk to me about Fulham beating Burnley 4-2. I know you enjoyed the half of that game that you watched.
Yeah, man. Obviously, I watched Fulham a little bit in the championship and kept up through Grant, and he's kept me up with this progression of their manager. And I want to say they'll have a hard time holding on to him in the future. He's incredible. I could see him going to Manchester United. The dude's a genius. Okay, anyway, so even when they played Tottenham, there were times when Fulham absolutely dominated. In this game, he absolutely dominated Burnley, and Sean Dyche after the match was just summarized it well that the better team won. I mean, they're playing super expansive football. They're switching the ball a lot. They know what they're doing. John Michael Setti, he's still getting used. It's only 3 games that he's been with the team basically, and I mean his goal of the week right there. Beautiful build up. He gets the ball, he takes it, shifts his body into space, and just puts it in the top right corner. And they could have scored more goals. I mean, the team is flying. I think it's huge for them that they got their first win. They played some good games. I mean, they played against Tottenham, and what was the match last week that they drew? I can't remember, but getting that first win is huge for them, and I think they'll just keep rolling now. That's just such a mental thing to get that first 3 points on the board.
Let me see. Hank is working on this pretty tough. Oh, they played Spurs last weekend and lost 3-1.
Yeah. What was their first match? Their opening? Crystal Palace. They got Hodgson. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
You get Hodgson, it's can't do much about that.
Yeah, but that was good. Good for them to get that win on the board. Good for them to implement that style. So we'll see going forward. But I said this to Grant, and I'm going to continue to say it. And I'm literally just echoing what you're saying. It's going to be really tough for them to do this week in and week out. Burnley are a team that have been looking really, really bad this year. I have to comment that. Man, Burnley have looked bad this year, dude. I've heard many people calling them to go. Quite a few.
So what do you think about their? He's a good manager. He stuck with them for a while. So they've finished 7th in the Premier League. They had a run at Europa League, and they bought 2 championship players and got Joe Hart. What kind of summer is that to support your team and your manager?
That's nothing. That's worse than nothing. You're not adding a lot of
we
quality.
Can say that we can say that we did something, but it's nothing.
That's worse than what Spurs did. How about that?
I would agree with that, because Spurs can say we didn't sign anyone and we didn't get better. Burnley, their board could say we signed some people and Joe looks awful, man. He looks
terrible.
He's just flapping at balls, and one of the Fulham goals, it's kind of a deeper cross, and he's just going up and I'm not we say flapping like a keeper flaps. He was literally flapping his arms. I was what is he doing?
He's a shell. He's an absolute shell of the man that won 2 Premier League titles at Manchester City. Was England's number 1 for many years. Saved City's butt on many occasions in the Champions League. Penalty saves, amazing saves. Joe Hart used to go beast mode in the Champions League, dude. He would literally just save us. Oh my goodness. We haven't had a keeper keep us in games like that since Joe Hart. And he is an absolute just sad shell, man. I would love to see him just go ahead and hang it up. He's got enough money. Just hang it up. But he must enjoy the game. But man, it's been hard for me to watch.
Yeah, you feel for the guy. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, Burnley are struggling. Their defense looks really leaky this year, and that was kind of one of the things that had really benefited them. That had been kind of the bedrock of their team was their defense. And so far this year, they let in 3 goals to Watford. They let in 3 goals to Olympiacos on Thursday. They, have just not been the same as last year. And so I don't know, man. I don't know if this might be that team that goes down that, performed decently the season before.
That'd be really disappointing.
You think so? Would you be disappointed?
Yeah, I'm they play differently, but like Burnley for me is a team that like total like whole is the sum is better than the parts, and they all buy into that. And he's a long-standing manager, and I believe in a lot of the things he does. I'll be disappointed. I think it'll be kind of sad for football.
Huh.
And the money winning over, like pure coaching.
I don't know, dude. Fulham, I mean, they have spent a lot of money, I guess. And that's the point that Sean Dyche was making in his press conference, right? He kind of threw some shade at him. He was like, yeah, they look like $100 million well spent. So
that's interesting. So so they compared like Fulham and Burnley in the last 3 years, right? I was looking at some comments. They both spent just about $150 million respectively. And that's Fulham over 3 seasons, $100 million coming this year. And then, Burnley over the past 3 seasons. Yeah, he was kind of throwing some shade, but then he was also like, we were also thoroughly outplayed. So, I mean, it's interesting, right? It's an interesting comment.
It is. He loves throwing shade at City, and he doesn't mind throwing it at Pep. And so I actually really don't like Sean Dyche at all, to be honest with you.
He's hard, man. He's a hard man. Like he's the guy that for me, I look at him, he's the guy that you're minding your own business, and somehow he ends up wanting to whoop your ass because you looked at him at the corner of your eye in the bar.
Phenomenal analogy. Very nice. All right, let's do it. What we've all been waiting for. So if we were a real show, this is where we'd be like, hey, we're going to take a break right now. But instead, here we go. Liverpool versus Brighton. I wish Nate was here. Nate, what are your thoughts? 23-minute Mohamed Salah goal lets Liverpool win a game 1-0. Who are you guys? What have you done with the Liverpool that I know?
Did you see the goal?
Yeah.
Did you see who set it up? Who set it up?
Nagby? Right?
Before
Nagby
that, they're passing out of the back, right? The center back has the ball. Right before he passes it to their holding mid, Milner makes this freaking like busting a gut sprint. Before the guy can turn, he's sliding for days, takes the ball off of him. I think it was Bobby. I think Bobby got it after that and then assisted. But I was just saying, like, just that high press. And Chris Hughton was fuming. Because, I mean, Brighton defended well the whole game. Mm-hmm. And we weren't quite on the mark. But, it was a wonderful goal. I mean, first touch by Salah. Yeah. Strokes it into the bottom left corner. Like, 1 season and 3-game wonder. Like, I mean, how long can he keep doing this?
He will continue to do this. There's no doubt. The guy, when you see him play, it looks like it does remind you of Messi. It really does. And the fact that he's left-footed, yes, helps. But it's the tiny steps that he takes in such rapid succession.
And the balance.
Like, how do you move so quickly? And the speed at which he does things, especially when it comes to finishing. It's so smooth and quick and graceful, and it's just amazing. It really is. It's as you can tell, I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan. The guy is absolutely incredible. I wish he played for my team, and I think that's how most people feel. Like, wow.
I thought it was a couple interesting things. I'm going to start at the back. I'm going to work my way up. So, and I'll go ahead and do my dirty talk segment. Yeah. I mean, Alisson, like the dude, he's incredible and he scares me. But I'm like, you know what? It's football. Play beautiful. Like, forget the sensical shit if you can do it. He chips Pascal Gross. Did you see that?
No, did not see it.
I'm going to keep talking. You need to go to YouTube right now and type in Alisson Pascal Gross, and I'll keep talking. So we'll get back to that. We'll get a live reaction from Lebs on the air.
Okay, go.
So this is kind of interesting. People are talking about Liverpool spent so much on this back line, right? Van Dijk.
Yep.
Look who was starting for us. A right back who Liverpool signed when he was 6 years old from a summer academy. Gomez, I think we got from Charlton Athletic for like less than $12 million. And then a left back who cost $7 million from Hull. I mean, it's not like that much was dropped on it. I think it's so interesting what Van Dijk has done. We have this 21-year-old Gomez who looks so competent. Like, that center back pairing is incredible. And like, we wouldn't have ever known anything about it if Lovren wasn't injured right now.
Yeah, it really has been incredible. Like, the number of clean sheets and everything. Like, it's tough to really argue against the fact that he has made it better. And those, man, those players that you guys have in your backs, your right back and your left back, Alexander Arnold and Richard, what's the guy's name? The other
Left back,
fullback.
Andy Robertson.
Yeah, Robertson, yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to find this chip. It's being more difficult than I expected.
So,
But anyway.
yeah, it's interesting. There's a couple things. So Trent Alexander-Arnold, he's incredible. He's so talented. I'm going to have 2 on the air reactions for you. I'm going to get you another short little video.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm so sorry, guys. Okay, so just another interesting point. So that's the back 4, and our midfield has been still Milner, Naby Keita, and Wijnaldum, who's been incredible. And like Fabinho hasn't played a match yet. He's traveling with the team. Klopp's not even naming him to the bench. Like, what a luxury that is to be able to actually bet a player in like that. And like he played in the preseason.
They're taking it?
Yeah, he hasn't made the bench.
Huh.
And as far as I know, he's not injured.
Interesting. I did not know this because I rate him as a player, and he was somebody when you guys signed him. It was tough because had looked at him and I really wanted him, and I think he actually chose Liverpool over City was my understanding. But yeah, I mean that's really surprising that you guys have taken this long to get him going. Like I know you're saying it's a luxury, and it is because it's like you haven't really missed him, but man, that's interesting though that it's taken that long.
I thought he was going to slot right in, honestly.
Yeah, same. You think his fitness was that bad?
No, I think what happens is you don't start him in the first game, and then your team just kind of is able to make it work, and you just wait as long as you can to get him in.
Yeah. I guess you don't change when it's working, you just leave it alone, huh?
Yeah, and so, kind of the flow of this game, we had some chances early on, and we converted that counterattack that we stole off them super early. And then the rest of the match, we were building up. We had majority of possession, but we could never really get that goal. And today our finishing wasn't quite there. Mohamed Salah kind of had a few that he missed, and I'm also, it's not a thing. But he wasn't quite on his game. But the most encouraging thing, Brighton, an extremely competent team. At 1-0, I wasn't scared. I wasn't afraid, like the fears of yesterday that could grip me before. Like we can grind out a 1-0 like a 1-0 game, and traditionally that's scary and not. Okay, I'm sending you a link on Facebook. Watch the most recent one I sent you. That's Trent's. He had a first-time pass that looked like that. I mean, we ground out a win. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was something that I was trying to kind of bring up earlier, was that you guys are not traditionally known for being able to grind out like a 1-0 win. That's why I was saying, what have you done with the Liverpool that I've known? I mean, I've watched a lot of games of Liverpool's where they're ahead by 2 goals, 3 goals, and then can easily still draw the game.
It's in the back of your mind, right? It's always there.
Lower level opposition too. Like not even, not even top 6. So yeah, but you guys it's amazing how different the defense looks. Like can one player really change that much? I mean, I don't know. It's really amazing though.
Yeah.
When are you guys going to start giving up some goals?
Yeah, at this rate, we're on pace to score 158 goals and concede 0.
Yeah.
Both of those clips, real-time reaction. Tell me which one you're watching when you pull it up. And I don't know, man, like going and beating Crystal Palace the way we did, beating Brighton the way we did, 2 teams that are going to kind of sit back and do that, like that is very encouraging. Those are 100% the games that we trip up on. The attacking trio weren't quite as good as they had been, the fast, free-flowing stuff, but they didn't have to be. That's how a team works. Like, you can't produce the high-flying 9 out of 10 stuff. Sometimes your team's going to have a 6 out of 10, and you have to rely on your defense, and that's what happened. And Alisson had some really good saves, good distribution. He's a little bit scary at times, but, if you can do it, then,
dude,
whatever.
I saw and that's a phenomenal point, by the way, and I just want to say they used to say that about Man United when they won year after year. And they'd say that's what champions do. They win 1-0, or they win when you have to grind.
You got to be able to grind that out.
Yeah. That I saw that pass in some sort of highlight reel I caught earlier today. That is an absolute. Looks like a golf shot, like with a pitching wedge or a 7-iron, where you just hit it so. Not that I've ever hit a ball this well, but when you see it, they just hit it so clean and smooth that it like floats down through the air and just gently drops right next to where the intended target.
Yeah, he's talking about Trent's pass right now, and he took it on the half volley, hit it with the outside of his boot, and it swerved all the way to like the top left corner of the box nearly.
I mean,
he's 19. He's 19 years old. He's starting in the Champions League final, not looking out of place, throwing down passes like that.
Has an accent that is hysterical.
It's awful.
Oi, my name is Trent Alexander-Arnold. Like it's like that high. Like that was terrible. But
I've heard some things, and usually the guys that I hear it from are pretty reliable. The reporters, like Klopp's already said, like he believes Trent has too much talent and wants to move him into the midfield eventually. So that'll be interesting to see the progression of his career.
Yeah, very cool.
Like I mean, I don't know how Nathaniel Klein's going to get his spot back. That'll be interesting.
I mean, Alexander-Arnold's been the guy, and both those guys have been like the guys in those positions. Played in Champions League final, lost in Champions League final, but played in Champions League final.
They're both really right backs. I mean, that's just a great position. I mean, Klein will have to. I think Klein's around 25, 26. Great right back. Yeah, I mean, I'm super high in this team right now. They're winning in all the ways, and I think the front three, I think it'll gel. I'm not concerned about that at all. I'll say this, and then I'll stop and then hear any thoughts you have to say on it. I was reading some comments, and some Liverpool fans were talking about, yeah, at this point, I'd rather have Coutinho than Alisson and Van Dijk and Keita. I'm like, you out of your mind? At this point, I'd rather have Keita than Coutinho. He fits the system better. He's younger. I mean, Coutinho is an incredible player, like no lie. But the amount of money we got for him, one Keita, one Van Dijk, no. Oh, and I'll answer your question.
You guys have done it exactly right. That's all I have to. You guys nailed it with what you've done.
One player making a difference. Yeah, I think so. You get one guy, and you're talking about Van Dijk making a difference. Why has the team got so much better defensively? I think Klopp, after we lost to Tottenham last year in the fall 4-1, there was a big shift there, and then Van Dijk like kind of comes in. He's like, guys, it's not that hard. And he doesn't get it in his own head. He'll do some silly mistakes like all players do. And like he just looks at the crowd and he's like, whatever, and he totally forgets about it. The guy's got the perfect demeanor. I mean, he's also gigantic. And then you have a keeper on the back like you can actually trust. Like when you don't trust your keeper, the defender's like, do I go for this? Is he coming for this? And there's all these miscommunications and stuff like it. Both of those things have like brought so much calm and ease into the team.
It's going to be just tough. I mean, the way you guys look right now, I don't know, man. It's going to be tough to see when you drop points, to be honest. So what are you guys? Let me look at the schedule real quick coming up for y'all. So you play Leicester on the 1st, so this 1 week, Saturday. Then you play Spurs. Man, that's going to be a really, really good game. That's on the 15th, and that is at Wembley. Spurs and Liverpool at Wembley. That's what I'm stinking talking about.
What's the date on that?
Right there.
Is that after international break?
September 15th. So let's see. No, dude, we're going to have this weekend, the next weekend, and the next weekend. So we have 3 more weekends of Premier League football, and then I think there's an international break. Let's see. 9:15, 9:22, 9:29. When is the international break this year? 10/7. Oh, there it is. 10/7 to 10/20. There's a 13-day gap there. So, yeah, October. Interesting. Okay. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the game against Spurs on the 15th. That'll really be a big game. That's going to really kind of tell us the true contenders a little bit more, you know?
That'll be like one of the first big clashes, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, everyone says, like, Liverpool are the only team that are going to challenge City for the title. But, I mean, like, Spurs would have a lot to say about that. Yeah. And that'll be the gauge.
So let's go ahead and talk about City.
It's a rough one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough to talk about us dropping points. I've been really bummed about it. Wolves played really, really well. I want to give them a lot of credit. They had a lot of chances. They did not capitalize on those chances, but, I think that they definitely earned the draw. Yes, their goal did come off of a handball, and yes, the VAR thing is true. I would love to see it. A lot of people, I'm in the middle of my diatribe, but I have to ask Mike a quick question. Mike, do you think that VAR was used poorly in the World Cup? Yes or no? Used poorly.
What does that question mean?
No. Yes or no? Give me an answer.
No,
Do you
I don't.
think? I don't either. I think it was used really well in the World Cup. Yes, it slowed the games down sometimes, but I thought it was worth it because they got the calls right. Anyway, I don't want to sit here and talk about VAR that
God,
much. So
I hate seeing that damn when the ref's like, and then you see him outline the goal. I'm like, God, that gets on my nerves for some reason.
So you don't like it?
Only when it's in favor of me.
A lot of people feel like you do. A lot of people, it really annoys them. It doesn't bother me at all. But
you're right. I just changed my mind. I go back and forth. I mean, I can objectively. They went from 94 to 99% accuracy in calls. Like, who can be against that? And it didn't disrupt the game too much. But like, I don't know. There's also
they're
some.
not reviewing it there, then you've got to sit there and watch the 10 minutes of the players and the coach all whining at the ref.
Yeah, I mean, it has to happen. It has to. Like, we can't debate the efficacy of it or anything. There's nothing to debate.
Right. It's going to happen. I bet it's going to happen. Hopefully at the end of this season. That's my hope. Because that was such. There's no even their goal. It's tough to even talk about. It was the guy who first touched the ball on the front side was even offsides. So it's an offsides handball. But we didn't finish our chances, and we had quite a few chances, and Wolves played really, really, really well. So, there's some talk about that David Silva should have had a penalty. It's not a penalty for me. I thought it was Ruben Neves being in the right place at the right time to avoid. He was standing there, and it was kind of like he was standing there, and David's leg went into him, kind of thing. So that's not a penalty for me. But it was just a tough game against a good opponent. I think Wolves are going to have an incredible season, and so I'm really excited to continue to watch them. I'm definitely appreciate the way they play football.
Yeah, man, they'll be fine, right? Like who?
Oh, Wolves will, yeah. No, I'm seriously so pessimistic that I'm concerned. I'm not that pessimistic. Everyone knows I'm pretty optimistic, but with everyone calling Man City to win this year, it's tough to really believe it as a fan. I know I called us to win, but and we did drop points this early last season against Everton. So, you can't I don't want to be too knee-jerk at dropping points, but it's tough, when we have now slid down the table. I liked being on top. I like being in the first position. I'm used to it now, Like, how does that feel to look at the table and see you guys at the very top of the table at this point?
I won't believe it till they lift the trophy.
Yeah.
It's, like that whole 13-14 season when we were on top of the table. It's just like, it's just unbelievable. Like, Tottenham could even win the league this year, Right. It feels good. What feels the best is that 0 goals conceded. And we've played some teams that will score a lot of goals this year. Except for West Ham. They're bad.
They're really
bad.
You played Crystal Palace and held them scoreless.
That's a 2-0 over Palace. That is a fantastic result. They will take points off top teams.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. You ready to shut it down? Got anything you want to say before we go?
I think goalies are too protected.
Really?
Yeah, I'm kind of tired of it. Like,
what brought it up?
There was a ball coming down. The Brighton player cleared it all funky, and it's just way up coming down in the box. And Firmino positions himself under the ball, right? And he's not looking at the keeper. He's looking up and playing the ball. And the keeper just jumps up and runs into him and smashes into him, and it's a foul on Firmino. And he literally levels Firmino, but it's because he was in the way. And I'm like, he was out of the protected little closer box. And I'm like, it's too much, you know?
Yep.
Any thought on that? Are goalkeepers too protected?
I think in that instance, it's pretty tough. You have to give them access to the ball, in a way, even though they get to use their hands and they can jump up,
Do you have
and
a
it's,
right to be in the way, though?
yeah, I don't
That's a
know.
loaded question. It depends on the thing, right? Like
Yeah.
if you're running up and standing within his like arm reach just to
It's
obstruct.
it's tough. It's one of those nuances of the sport that's very subjective, and it's very difficult to
And you couldn't
really
really explain it to
referee.
someone, could you, like that hadn't watched?
No. No, you would have had to have seen a lot of games played in order to really understand what you're saying. But to answer your question, honestly, most of the time, no. I don't think I think it's pretty fair. And I tell you what, goalies are normally treated pretty harshly when they get outside their own box as far as the concessions that they're given. Like, a lot of times when you see a goalie coming out of their own box, they're trying to clear the ball, like, a little bit outside or far away from the box, and they're racing an offensive player for the ball. And when goalies a lot of times really go for that and slide real hard, I've seen a lot of red cards given to the goalie for that type of thing. And a lot of times the forward will just dive out of the way.
It's the worst position in soccer. I'm talking shit about the most scapegoated position on the field. I'm like, man, they have it. They're way too protected, but they have a 10 out of 10 game and they let in a goal on mistake like they're the villain.
Right.
It's tough.
Well,
That's why I'm not a goalie and I've never played one. I had a match one time where we only had 7 players show up and we had to rotate through goalie. It was awful.
oh
I'm
yeah.
not about that life.
I'm a terrible goalie. I'm awful. I can't believe how bad I am most of the time.
When Casey first started playing with me, he loved sliding it at your feet. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like that and like risking your body. Anyways,
Oh man, you got to be a
any
little
hot
crazy
takes,
to
any
be a
dirty
goalie.
talk?
Nah, I got nothing for you, man. I wish I had more time to watch all these games. Just real talk to this core group of listeners, man. Thank you so much, everybody who listens on a week in, week out basis. I know this show's been a little rambly, maybe not one of our best, but just haven't gotten to really talk to Mike much lately or watch the games, so we were just kind of rambling a little bit. But thank you guys for sticking with us. We really appreciate it, and man, it's really been fun. I don't really have anything else to say, but man, looking forward to the rest of this season. What are any big upcoming games this next week?
There's a
Mike,
game that I'm
that you should
100%
say?
watching, and I would recommend everyone else watch. It's going to be Brighton Fulham. I think that'll be
Ooh,
yeah, Brighton, very defensively competent, can go forward. I think is it at the
it's
Lane?
it's Saturday at 9 o'clock, and it is at Falmer Stadium.
So it's at home for Brighton. That's going to be. I'm most excited about that game besides the Liverpool game, obviously. I mean, you guys are playing Newcastle at home, so I mean, like,
Oh yeah, that
should be a walk. Yeah, and then Wolves
3-1,
are
3-1 City.
playing West Ham. I expect Wolves to roll West Ham.
Yeah.
Which in Huddersfield, that'll be a snooze.
Yeah. Well,
Nothing
no,
else too.
I bet Everton played pretty decent that game. I'll be looking forward to actually watching that one.
I think they should win it. I mean, Huddersfield, I've got them to go down.
Yeah, they probably should win it. I secretly kind of like Huddersfield because they have Aaron Moy, and I kind of like their manager a little bit.
Man,
but,
their manager's
yeah,
a stud, man.
Yeah, they might be going down.
What about you? Anything interesting that you're kind of perked up on?
No. You brought up the best point. I'm pumped to see. I'm not going to watch the Wolves West Ham game. I'll just watch the highlights. I bet that game finishes 6-1. 5-1, 6-1. I'm high on Wolves right now. Oh, dude, he's okay. I have to say this real quick before we go. Sorry, guys. I think Pellegrini might be a little bit overrated. I know he won a Premier League title for my club, and I would get in a lot of trouble for saying that in a lot of city circles, but I'm not a huge fan of his, and I never really have been that much. And he, yes, did lead us to the title, but he did with a very, very, very good team at that. I mean, not as good as the team we have, but, a team chock full of talent that was definitely – I mean, he did good work, but I think he's screwed in this circumstance. Let me just wrap it up with that. I think he's absolutely toast. And
Gone by Christmas?
West Ham. Do you think he's not going to ride with them all the way down? Yeah, I bet he'll be one of those early manager signings. Actually, he'll get fired before Mourinho will, and that'll happen very soon. Both of them.
That'd be kind of fun. Next one, let's go down and look at that. Who we think will be fired next? I mean, it would probably be him though.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's they play in this shitty stadium. They've got a weird conglomerate of players, but I mean, like, you got to do something.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you guys for listening. Here's a little Khaled, Young, Dumb, and Broke. Y'all have a good one.
So you're still thinking of me, just like I know you should. I cannot give you everything, you know I wish I could. I'm so